Well, howdy, 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 nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. And remember, no matter who you are valid. Son of a gun. I don't know, within the last week, 2 weeks, I talked about how irritating I am finding the world of technology. Because I'll tap touchscreen buttons, and they'll go, okay, and acknowledge that I touched them, and not do anything, and then I have to touch them a second time, sometimes a third time, each time it going, okay, got your input, and not doing anything before it actually does something. And I'm not just talking about my tablet. I'm talking about all technology at the hospital, in restaurants, any place there is a touchscreen. It's ridiculous. And physical buttons do that too. If I'm not looking and I physically press a button, it often won't take the input. And I mean, I'm literally got my finger on it, look away, go click, and I hear the click, and it doesn't take the input. Well, I was turning on my tablet so that I could start recording this. Swept the stylus across the lock screen, and it did nothing. So I swept the stylus across the lock screen, and it did nothing, and then it turned off because I wasn't giving it any input, and to save battery, it shuts off. It just ignored the 2 swipes. So I turned it back on and swiped, and at least that time it worked. So now that the old man yelling at clouds portion of the video is over, thank you for watching if you have. Greatly appreciated. I do have some stuff written down over on my list over there, and that's why I've only got one arm a-going. I don't know what the heck I did, but I have mentioned before that because of the nerve compression and the spinal stenosis, which is the narrowing of my vertebrae around my spinal cord, and thus the pinching off of the nerves going into my arms, look over on my list to remind myself, I have all sorts of pains in my arms, hands, and shoulders that aren't actually arm, hand, and shoulder pains. It's just reports of injuries from the nerves that are being pinched and injured. The rest of me is fine. But there's one pain I gotta watch out for, and that's if the rotator cuff tendons right between my shoulder blades and my spine, if those feel like I've been stabbed in the back with knives, then I am hosed. I need to stop using that arm entirely. I got 3 daggers stabbed into my back right now. So I don't dare use that arm. I have to use that as little as possible. I'm only can hope. As you can see, I am messed up by just stress here. Because this is not good. This is bad. The last time this happened, I lost the use of my arm for a week, so... Well, and then I lost use of it for a week and a half afterwards, so yay. But, yeah, I'm going to be using this arm, because even though the nerves are pinched off just as bad and worse on this side, this is the side that's irritated, and I don't know why. Yay. But also on my list, Jesse Koskinen, who's in Finland, left a mention in comments about how we can't wait for it to become warmer in Finland because it's very cold right now. Oh, I wish it was cold here. We hit between 30 and 40 Fahrenheit at night. I do not know what that works out to in Celsius, but if the freezing of water, it's not 0, but it's cold, but not freezing. And when I go to bed, first I open up my door wide open for a few minutes so that a lot of the warmer air in here goes out and the cooler air comes in. And when I go to bed, I have these windows open all day and open all night. I turn on the fan higher, and I aim it over in this direction. I have the heat turned off. I have only a sheet on my bed, and even at that, it only covers my upper body and not my feet. And I am still almost too warm. Only at about 6 o'clock, puffed air out around my dentures here. Only around 6 o'clock does it finally get so cold that I have to pull a blanket over my shoulders and upper chest to warm up. The rest of me has to stay uncovered or I will quickly get too warm. I'm gonna die when it becomes summer here. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but this is just me living in heat. I don't do well in heat. My doctor asked me, do you have problems with being cold? I said, oh my God, no. No, I wish it was cold. Ugh. So thumbs up for that. Anyway, though, also, I want to talk about this for a minute because there's stuff I've talked about this on this before, and I'm making no sense at all, but that's okay because I have mentioned in the past how I understand that my using modern slang doesn't make me cool. It just makes the slang uncool. So I'm not making myself better by using modern slang, I'm just degrading modern slang by trying to use it. Some terms I will use, some terms I will not. Gotta stay up over there. But what I try to do is at least keep up on what things mean. And because of stuff like that, even though I do like a lot of older music, I mean, if you look up Flock of Seagulls from the early 80s, I still really like Flock of Seagulls. They did some amazing stuff for the time, but I also like current stuff. And the big reason for that is not to try and stay cool, but neuroplasticity of your brain. You have to keep learning. Your brain is like any other organ in your body. If you don't use it, you lose it. Neuroplasticity, the ability of your brain to learn and change, is something that you have to work on. That is why I have tried to push and learn different things, like with the solo RPG stuff. I could not for the life of me and had not been able to understand oracles and how to use them. Until click, suddenly I could. Neuroplasticity, my brain made the synaptic connections. And then the same thing with mapping. I've always been that person that it had to be exact, and if it wasn't exact, then I couldn't figure it out. Now it's like, just give me something loose, I'll scrabble something out. Neuroplasticity had to make that change. Again, bringing that to the future and the present is writing over there is one thing I'm trying to do is keep my brain young. I can't do anything about my age. I can't do anything about the physical conditions of my body. I can't do about anything about the fact that my body is going to fall apart and I am going to die at some point between right now and the next, if I'm lucky, 20 to 25 years. I mean, my genetic father lived to age 81 and he abused his body through, he was a painter, toxic chemicals damaged his body and brain. He still lived to 81. So who knows? But all I can do, since I can do nothing about this, is try to eat better, which I'm trying to do again, and keep exercising, and then keep your brain working. Now, that's not just me, and the reason I said it that way is there have been places for older people to live in centers, like I am now here, with the proviso that you're going to only stay here if you take these community college courses, and they would help subsidize it, because use it or lose it. And so, yeah, that's why I'm trying to push. That's why when I hear and see stuff, I try to at least read up on it. I really like, once again, I'm going to go up on this whole glorb thing. And I just think it's amazing, and I'm trying to listen to a lot of the stuff. somebody was watching, I'm watching reactions on the Larry the Lobster one again, where they were halfway through it and then hitting and catching up on it, and then when I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but in the song, when the person, they say, Larry the Lobster, how'd you get so swell? They ask me if I'm Yeet, Y-E-A-T. I say that they ask me if I'm Yeet. I don't know, so here's a bell, and then bam, and then, you know, just like Yeet will do. And then that was dumb hard. That's a dumb bell with dumbbells. So I went through, looked up all this stuff, and now I'm trying to listen to various new people that I'm finding out about with Yeet and such. Not to be cool, because that doesn't make me cool. That just makes everything else slightly less cool. But for neuroplasticity. Plus, I honestly and actually enjoy this stuff. Like the Megan Thee Stallion stuff, like Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion together. Like a lot of these artists. I like their stuff. I'm picking up on these things, and I'm finding new artists to find out, listen, and follow. That's pretty awesome. Also, just as a bringing things down by my thinking it's funny and thus using it, smoking hydro and sipping lean. I have been using those terms way too much now. Just in the privacy of talking to myself here, just because of these Glorb songs. So hey, yay! Which lean ain't nothing I would ever drink, and hydro definitely not. For number one, I think pills are pills, and you should like swallow them. You shouldn't do anything else with them, like smash and snort or smash and smoke. No. So, thumbs up. And then the other thing I have on my list, I mentioned, I think it was yesterday, one of the big problems with ADHD, especially for me with time blindness, is by the time I hit noon, the morning is yesterday. It feels like yesterday, 12 hours ago. And then actual yesterday feels like 2 or 3 days back. That's why it is so hard for me to remember accurately when things happen. Because stuff that just happened 4 hours ago feels like yesterday. So yay. But I believe it was yesterday when I mentioned that I don't have any of the books with me right here, but Mike Lambo makes a series of solitaire war game books, where it's got the rules are at the front of the book, and then it has all the series of maps, and on the other side, so that you can lay it open, is the AI for the enemy. And I said, I understand why you wouldn't, but do you mind if people do playthroughs? And he said, I do not mind, just try not to show too much of the charts. Because that's the problem with showing printed and playing the printed games like that, is you're showing all the stuff right there. I mean, I'm not saying that you would copy anything, but that's one of the things that some people do. And so he took time and effort to make the book, and so taking the book and making it available for people that didn't pay money for the book, as much as I don't like the capitalistic system we work under, I don't want to take money from this guy's pocket either. So he has said, okay, try not to show too much of the charge. I'm probably going to be much more conservative than he would even want me to. Especially because he has done playthroughs of some of his maps with the full AI and map spread, showing how to play it, doing leaf-throughs of the rules. Other people who are into these things, there are people that do total leaf-throughs where they will sit down a book and go through it almost page by page and discuss the book and its implications. I'm not going to do that. Again, I don't want to take money out of a person's pocket. If you want to get all that information, you should probably go and buy the book from the person instead of just getting all the information out of the book otherwise. But, I mean, that's just me. I'm also partially, got the mindset of the wage slaves still. I may be a left-leaning person now, but I live in America. And culture is culture. Culture is, I've called it before, it's a glass prison. Because your culture teaches you how to act. So that even if you're removed from the area of your culture, you're still going to act like you're there. You're in a big glass box following a maze of rules and regs of culture that you will still do even if you're taken out of that culture situation. It is a glass prison. Because the culture will teach you. When you pass by that green building, you have to hop on one leg. And when you go by this red line that's up on poles, you have to whistle a song. And every weekend, you have 2 days off. And during the week, every morning, you go to work. And on Sundays, you go to this building. Yeah, culture teaches you things that you don't even think about anymore because it's a glass prison that taught you all this stuff. So yay on culture. But anyway, grand point being, I want to play through some of the books and some of the maps and some of the stuff to show them off. And I wish I had the stuff here and I can't properly show it off because I'm trying to also be careful because this is a buzzing and a hurting and that ain't good. Is there anything else on my list that I want to go over? No. I've written down what I have. I talked with my therapist about stuff this morning. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that I do want to talk about. In fact, I know there is. There's setting stuff I want to talk about. I love my setting. I love the King in Crimson. I love the Crimson Kingdom. I love the inside, the Razor's Edge. I love the outside where we are, the multiverse settings. I was thinking about that. Again, to keep all this stuff still in my mind. After all, if something can happen in the multiverse, it will. A multiverse generally does not split. Only if something is an impossibility within a multiverse that is going to happen anyway, would it have to split so that there's the multiverse where it doesn't and then the multiverse where it does. This is why what happens when the builders who sink the foundations of the city into the multiverse splits. There's a multiverse that is no foundations of the city sank into it, and then there's the multiverse where there is. Now within that multiverse, when Dread Amagaratu swam out of the Ongata toward them, well, there were a couple more splits, because there was one, it split when they decided to evacuate, and then it split when they decided to fight in that other split. But in this one, they fight and then evacuate. In the other that splits, they fight and win. Now, the implications of that for them, of course, Dread Amagaratu is the Gakira, the most powerful. That's supposed to be a category, but she is so strong, it is a crown and a title. It has been warped into the most powerful, her. When they defeat her, the people that live in the Infinite City as a people, as a civilization, become the Gakira. Which is very weird and frightening for them because suddenly they are most powerful. But hey, if you've watched this far, if you could write Dread Amagaratu, and no, I'm not going to spell it for you, so that'll be interesting for you to try and write it down. Just write anything down. Dread, however you guess. Don't try to do it right. This is not supposed to be exclusive. It's supposed to be inclusive. So if you just write that down to show you've watched that far, that'd be awesome. And if you're a Patreon patron, thumbs up and thank you. I can't type your names out, oh my god, but you are beautiful and awesome people. When you look in the mirror, you know you are looking at someone who is beautiful and awesome. For everybody that has left me a comment, well, I was able to answer one here. I'm not going to be able to type anymore today at least, so yay. But you know who you are. Thumbs up, thank you. I read and appreciate every single comment. I got stuff I still got to do. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to do it, but I'm going to try. And I hope you can get done what you got to do. If you can't, don't beat yourself up. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is indeed a very, very good thing. No fancy editing, just tapping the on-screen stop button.